The senator from Delaware is recognized.
Before we turn to the nomination of Judge Leonard Stark, I have 3 requests for committees to meet during today's session of the Senate. They have the approval of both the majority and the minority leaders of the Senate.
Duly noted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, rather. Mr. President, I am honored today. We've just had a vote. And the vote, Mr. President, would you mind repeating the margin on that vote? Do you have that handy?
54 to 33.
54 to 33. In baseball, we're hoping there's going to be a settlement in the baseball dispute right now between labor and management. But in baseball, you have some games that go extra innings, but at the end of the game, somebody wins, somebody loses. And I like to say the team that wins gets a W. Well, we've just had a W in favor of support of the nomination of Leonard Stark to serve on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. Not just a win for him, for his family, not just a win for Delaware, where he's from, not just a win for the colleges and universities he's gone to, the places that he's worked. He's practiced law, served as a judge, but this is a win for our country. This is a win for our country. And I'm honored today to rise in support of his nomination to serve on the U.S. Court of Appeals. And the presiding officer from time to time will see me on the floor and passing out, we call them palm cards, and he's probably passed out a few of his own to our colleagues, asking them to join him or join me in co-sponsoring legislation, supporting amendments, supporting bills on the floor. And for the last day or two, I've been passing out palm cards to our Republican colleagues, asking them to support the nomination of Leonard Stark to serve on this court. And as grateful as I am for all the Democrats and at least 1 or 2 independents who voted for him, I want to also express our thanks to the Republicans across the aisle and saw fit to support his nomination. I'm not sure, Mr. President, how much that our colleagues here in the Senate know about the U.S. Court of Appeals. I'd be the first to admit that I had to do some homework on it myself. But this court is best known, maybe best known for its decisions on patent law. That's right, patent law. In fact, it's the only appellate court, I'm told, other than the U.S. Supreme Court, that will hear and consider patent case appeals. But despite my needing to do a little homework on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, I do know a great deal about Judge Leonard Stark. In fact, I've known him, Mr. President, for probably half of his life. I've admired him for every one of those years. He's been nominated by our president to serve in this critical role in this important court. I've had the chance to follow his nomination along with Senator Coons of Delaware through the Judiciary Committee process, and I'm confident that Judge Stark's judicial experience and his expertise, particularly in the complex legal arena of patent law, make him a perfect fit for this particular judgeship. Mr. President, I knew a lot about Judge Stark for a couple of reasons. One, we're from Delaware. Delaware is a little state. I like to say, people ask me sometimes, we got 1 million people who live there. I say, have you met everybody in the state of Delaware? And probably not every one of them, but I met Judge Stark early in his life. And I was impressed by him as a young man, and that respect and really appreciation has only grown over the years. For the last 12 years, Judge Stark has served as a judge on the Delaware District Court, Federal District Court. It's a court with 4 judgeships. He's had one of those seats for about 12 years now. Prior to that, he had a distinguished academic and professional career in the state of Delaware. Judge Stark is a fellow University of Delaware graduate. We're fighting blue hens at UD. Len, as he's known to his friends and his colleagues and his professors, double majored as an undergraduate in political science and economics, while simultaneously working toward his master's degree. Let me just say that again. Judge Stark double majored, this is before he was a judge, he double majored as an undergraduate in political science and economics while simultaneously working toward his master's degree. My sister would say we call that showing off, but he was just showing up and just excelling every step of the way. During college, Lynn proved himself to be an exceptional student and person, earning a full scholarship as a Eugene DuPont Memorial Distinguished Scholar. And Mr. President, let me just mention something that Judge Stark and I have in common from our time at the University of Delaware. We both met an individual who would change our lives, a distinguished, beloved professor of political science named Jim Soules, legendary political science professor. Mr. President, I don't know if at your alma maters the students had an opportunity to vote for like outstanding professor. Dr. Soules won that honor at the University of Delaware so many times, I think they retired the honor. He was just beloved and respected by so many students and parents and faculty members. And fortunately for Leonard Stark, and fortunately for me, Jim Soules took us both under his wing and helped get us on the right path and led me to the Senate and leads Judge Stark to the Senate floor today for this vote on cloture, on his nomination. Jim Soules was a personal hero to a whole lot of us in Delaware, particularly at the University of Delaware. His mentorship involved a lifelong friendship, one that Judge Stark and I still cherish to this day. I'd been in Delaware. I'd been a naval flight officer in the Vietnam War, moved from California to Delaware at the end of the war, and ended up going working on an MBA. In my first year in Delaware, I read a guy who was running for the Democratic nomination for our only congressional seat. That was Jim Soules. And I was in Delaware for like a year, and I ended up from knowing nobody to being the treasurer and of a fellow running for the U.S. House of Representatives. A congressman at the time was Pete DuPont, a good man, and Jim Soules ran against him. And I got involved in that campaign, and later on I would meet Judge Stark, and we bonded right away because of our affection and respect for Dr. Soules. But I think it was 12 years ago, Judge Stark was confirmed, I think unanimously, by this body to serve on the Delaware's Federal District Court. And I called him to congratulate him. Sure enough, guess who he was having dinner with? He was having dinner with Jim Soules near the campus of the University of Delaware in Newark. Jim got to tell Judge Stark how proud he was upon his confirmation to the Delaware District Court. But sadly, not too long after that, we lost our dear friend, Dr. Jim Soules. And while he will not be able to have dinner with us tonight, or with Jim tonight, I want Judge Stark to know when I call him later this afternoon or this evening that Jim Soules is smiling down on him, and that Jim would have been so proud to see his nomination once again advancing on the floor of the United States Senate. Mr. President, not long let me tell you a couple of things about Judge Stark, if I could. But not long after his graduation from the University of Delaware, again, where he did a double major as an undergraduate simultaneously while going to pursuing an advanced degree, master's degree. He also went off and studied at Oxford, and he authored numerous academic and scholarly publications, including a book on British politics, which he wrote in his spare time between classes at Oxford. After Oxford, Judge Stark went on to earn his law degree at Yale Law School, where he served as senior editor of the Yale Law Journal. And after graduation, Judge Stark clerked for legendary Delaware Judge Walter Stapleton, who served for years on the U.S. Court of Appeals on the Third Circuit. And Judge Stark then began his career in public service as an assistant U.S. attorney for the state of Delaware, where from 2002 to 2007, he handled a wide variety of cases, from criminal cases, federal cases, civil matters, and others. And before his current position as a district judge, Mr. President, Judge Stark served as magistrate judge on the U.S. District Court of Delaware. It was this role that prepared him, I think, quite well to serve as a district court judge. In 2010, President Obama nominated Judge Stark to fill the vacancy on the Delaware District Court, and the Senate confirmed Judge Stark unanimously. In the years since then, Judge Stark has served Delaware and our nation with integrity and with distinction. Only 4 years after serving as a district judge, 2014, Judge Stark was appointed to the position of Chief Judge of the Delaware District Court, position he held until June of this year. During his 14 years on the bench in Delaware, Judge Stark has presided over, get this, over 6,000 civil and criminal cases, over 6,000 civil and criminal cases, including over 2,400 patent cases, 93 trials, including 63 patent trials. Patent law is of particular importance to the federal district, to the federal circuit. And Judge Stark's experience and expertise in these matters make him uniquely qualified for this particular judgeship. In fact, the federal committee, the Judiciary Committee of this Senate, received a letter of support for Judge Stark's nomination from the Federal Circuit Bar Association that highlighted the breadth of Judge Stark's experience. The letter states that Judge Stark's is, quote, their language, not mine, is uniquely well-suited to a position on the federal circuit. And the letter went on to highlight his, quote, again quoting, his integrity, his professional competence, and his judicial temperament, close quote. The Judiciary Committee also received a letter of support from the American Bar Association, which once again rated Judge Stark unanimously. They rated him well qualified. At every stage of his life, Judge Stark has performed at the highest level. That level of success and work ethic is impressive for any field. But when it happens on the federal bench, that's for the benefit of our Constitution and the American people. Finally, I might add, Mr. President, Judge Stark is known as a consensus builder who works to find principled compromises, something that the presiding officer and I do every day, or at least attempt to. In fact, of Judge Stark's approximately 2,100 written opinions, only 2% of them have ever been reversed or affirmed with criticism, only 2%. That's part of the reason why he was approved in January by a strong bipartisan majority in the Judiciary Committee. He has the heart of a servant and the temperament to be an outstanding judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for this federal circuit. From his studies that took him from Newark, Delaware, across the pond to Oxford in England and back to Yale, Judge Stark has a stellar record of academic achievement. And from his service to the American people as an assistant U.S. attorney for the last year on the Delaware District Court, Judge Stark earned the respect and the admiration of the legal community in Delaware and across our nation. I want to close with this. As the presiding officer knows, I was privileged to serve as governor of Delaware for 8 years, just before I came here to serve in the U.S. Senate. And I never imagined when I was running for the position of governor how important the governor's role in Delaware is in terms of nominating judges to the Court of Chancery and the Delaware Supreme Court and Superior Court and Family Court and on and on. A lot of courts, and some with national, even international respect and role. One of my great regrets is that I never had the opportunity to nominate Judge Leonard Stark, young Leonard Stark. He did not apply. He was not in. I know he's old enough, but not by much. But I would have been very, very proud as a governor to have nominated him to serve in any one of our courts in Delaware. Delaware is a little place. We've got about 1 million people, about 100 miles from north to south, about 50 miles from east to west. And it's not possible to know everybody, but you can know a lot of people. And I've been privileged to not only just know Leonard Stark, but also to know his family. And to know that one of the reasons why he succeeded, I'd say one of the reasons I succeeded, is we picked the right parents. Not a whole lot of wealth or fortune or fame, but just people with really good values and just good people. And I just want to say to them, thank you for bringing them into the world and raising them with wonderful values. I want to thank his wife and children for sharing their husband and their dad with the people of Delaware for all these years and for your willingness to let us give them a chance to serve in this new position. From his service to the American public as an assistant U.S. attorney for the last 12 years on the Delaware District Court, Leonard Stark has earned the respect and the admiration of the legal community in Delaware and across our country. I again want to thank our colleagues today for voting to allow his nomination to go forward to the next step. And I think we'll have an opportunity to vote next week on the actual confirmation, but I'm pleased with the outcome of today's vote on cloture. And we've got a a state song. I know we have a state song in Maryland. We have a state song. I won't sing it here today, Mr. President, but state song of the very first state of Delaware, first state to ratify the Constitution, includes a line that goes something like this. This is another direct quote: "The sun is shining over our beloved Delaware." And so today, indeed, the sun is shining over Delaware. We had the National Prayer Breakfast in the Capitol this morning in the auditorium of the Visitor Center, where the speaker was Brian Stevenson, famed attorney, defender, author, and he was here. He was our keynote speaker for the prayer breakfast. The co-chair for the prayer breakfast was Senator Christopher Coons, a Delawarean. The President of the United States spoke at the prayer breakfast today, Joe Biden, a Delawarean. And Lisa Blunt Radchester, our Congresswoman, and I had the privilege to be there and be part of that family. So it's been a good day for Delaware. And with a vote to move this nomination to the next step, it's a good day, another good day for Delaware for this reason. But it's also a very good day for our country. And for all who've worked hard to make this day possible and this step possible, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the floor to another fellow who has a Delaware connection. And when he came through orientation a few years ago, he was nice enough to share with me that I told him the most popular set of initials in the U.S. Senate were the letter TCs. There were more TCs than any set of initials in the Senate. And when Ted Cruz joined us, we had another one as well. But he shared with me that I think it was his grandmother was from Wilmington, Delaware, one of 17 children, if I'm not mistaken. And it gave us a common bond right from the get-go. And I'm happy to yield to my friend from Texas for his comments today.
The senator from Texas.